No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Imagine this. Jake considers himself a kind and patient person. One afternoon, stuck in traffic, another driver cuts him off. To his own surprise, Jake explodes in anger, yelling, slamming the horn, pulling over, and starting a fight. Later that day, he's left wondering, where did that come from? That wasn't me, was it? In that heated outburst, Jake came face to face with a hidden side of himself, a side that the famous psychologist Carl Jung would call the shadow. This video is about your shadow, what it really is, and why exploring it is key to understanding yourself. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist from the early 20th century. He introduced influential ideas like archetypes, the collective unconscious, and our focus today, the shadow. Jung believed that to achieve personal growth and to become whole human beings, we must confront our shadow. Jung famously described the personal shadow as the thing a person has no wish to be. The shadow is the name for all the parts of ourselves that we reject, deny, or keep in the dark. Essentially, the side of you that you don't present to the world or even to yourself. It contains all sorts of qualities, tendencies, impulses, and feelings that don't fit our ideal self-image. Often, these are traits we consider negative, like anger, jealousy, selfishness, and weakness. These traits make us reject ourselves, so we push them down. The more we ignore or bury this hidden side, the stronger and darker it grows, and the more likely it will erupt at the worst times. Jake's road rage moment is a perfect example. He normally denies his anger, so it lives in his shadow. Because he's not aware of it, that anger found its chance to explode, catching him off guard. The shadow, if left unconscious, tends to burst forth. It's like an unattended pressure cooker. Sooner or later, it blows. Jung also observed that we often project our shadow onto others without realizing it. For example, a person who refuses to see their own selfish impulses might constantly accuse others of being selfish. That's projection. The shadow disowned in ourselves is seen as out there in others. Jung speaks of the personal shadow, the one each individual carries. From a young age, we learn which behaviors and feelings are acceptable and which are not. We start to shove the unacceptable parts out of sight. Those cast-off parts collect in the shadow. Over time, your personal shadow becomes like a bag full of unlived feelings and traits that you drag behind you. You then risk being possessed by the shadow in moments when your guard is down. When we let the unrecognized shadow run the show, we end up sabotaging ourselves. Or, as Jung puts it, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Jung's concept doesn't stop at the individual. He also spoke of a collective shadow, the shadow of a society, a nation, or humanity as a whole. Just as a person has traits they refuse to accept, entire communities and cultures can collectively deny parts of themselves. This collective shadow is the unknown dark side of society. We see it when one group projects evil onto another group, or when social problems are ignored until they erupt. History provides stark examples. During events like witch hunts or genocides, where ordinary people can become swept up in horrific acts. Jungians argue that phenomena like Nazi Germany represented a collective shadow eruption. Many individuals disowned their own capacity for brutality and blindly followed a mass projection of evil onto others. In such cases, personal shadows feed into a larger collective darkness. The results are, as we know, catastrophic. A Jungian analyst, Mary-Louise von Franz, wisely noted that the shadow is not necessarily always an opponent. The shadow becomes hostile only when he is ignored or misunderstood. Think about that. Your hidden side can act like an enemy if you keep shutting it out or misreading it. But if you listen to it, it doesn't have to be hostile. Franz suggests that it is crucial to understand and integrate the parts of you that you've denied. Jung argued we shouldn't equate the shadow with a villain. In fact, he noted that the shadow does not consist only of morally reprehensible tendencies. such as normal instincts, appropriate reactions, realistic insights, creative impulses, etc. Your shadow actually holds valuable traits, energies, and talents that you may have suppressed because they didn't fit your ego ideal. For example, imagine someone who believes anger is always bad. They might shove all anger into their shadow and strive to be overly nice and compliant, but along with their bad anger, they also bury their healthy assertiveness and their self-protective instincts. As a result, this person may struggle to stand up for themselves. Their shadow stores all their untapped confidence and power. If they ignore it, they might increasingly resent people who are assertive, seeing them as aggressive, while remaining unable to claim their own strength. In this way, ignoring the shadow keeps one in an impoverished state, missing pieces of oneself. Instead, Jung calls for us to become whole by acknowledging the shadow. The shadow isn't a sign that you're uniquely broken or bad. It's a universal feature of being human. The trick is, we mustn't ignore it. Denial gives the shadow power, but if we gather the courage to acknowledge our shadow, we take back some of that power. This is the purpose of shadow work, recognizing your own darker traits and integrating them instead of pretending they're not there. In doing so, you may turn the shadow into an ally. The anger that controlled Jake in our story could become a source of passion and boundary setting once he understands it. By making the unconscious conscious, we reduce its ability to trip us up. We integrate the energy of the shadow into our whole personality, which makes us more balanced, more genuine, and more compassionate to ourselves and others. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow invites us to know thyself, not just the persona we show the world, but the fuller self that includes our inconvenient bits. But remember Jung's reassurance: the goal is wholeness, not perfection. We will always have some darkness, and that's okay. What matters is to uncover it, develop a relationship with it, and move towards wholeness. What's in your shadow? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.